Welcome to Long Story Short. Today we are dissecting Lois Lowry's 1993 dystopian masterpiece, The Giver, a novel that fundamentally shifted young adult literature by questioning the terrifying cost of a truly perfect society. Imagine living in a world completely free of war and pain and poverty. Everyone has a designated role and a perfectly matched family, and there is zero conflict or suffering. But beneath that flawlessly orchestrated surface, you have absolutely no freedom to choose your own path, and you cannot even see colors or feel genuine love. That is the chilling daily reality for our 12-year-old protagonist, Jonas. This novel is not just a simple science fiction story about the future. It is a profound psychological exploration of memory and individuality and the dangerous consequences of choosing absolute safety over human emotion. Long story short, The Giver is a brilliant examination of what we lose when we try to eliminate all human suffering and a passionate defense of our right to experience both deep joy and agonizing pain. Let us set the scene in an isolated, futuristic community. The society operates on a strict principle known as sameness. Everything is tightly controlled by a group called the Committee of Elders. Climate control eliminates snow and sunshine to maximize agricultural efficiency, and the citizens take daily pills to completely suppress their romantic and sexual urges. Our protagonist Jonas is approaching the ceremony of 12, which is the exact moment when the elders assign each child their permanent, lifelong career. Jonas lives with his assigned family unit, consisting of his mother, a judge, his father, a nurturer who cares for new children, and his younger sister, Lily. His father brings home a sickly infant named Gabriel, hoping to nurture the baby back to health and prevent him from being released. Release is the community's polite euphemism for sending someone away, but its true, terrifying nature is kept a strict secret from the general public. At the ceremony of 12, Jonas waits anxiously as his friends are assigned. Normal jobs like recreation director and care worker, but the chief elder completely skips Jonas's number, causing massive public anxiety. Finally, the elder announces that Jonas has not been assigned but has been selected for the most honored and isolating position in the entire community. He will become the next receiver of memory. The community has completely erased all historical memories of the world before sameness to protect the citizens from the heavy burden of past mistakes and painful emotions. However, they still need one single person to hold all of human history so they can access that wisdom when they face unprecedented problems. Jonas is instructed to report to the current receiver, an old bearded man who now calls himself the Giver. When Jonas begins his training, his entire perception of reality shatters. The Giver physically transmits memories to Jonas by placing his hands on Jonas's bare back. Jonas receives the memory of riding a red sled down a snowy hill, experiencing exhilarating speed and biting cold for the very first time. He also gains the ability to see the color red, which had been completely engineered out of the population's genetic code. As the training continues, Jonas receives magnificent memories of glorious sunshine and wild animals and the warm, comforting feeling of family love during a Christmas celebration. But to truly hold the world's history, Jonas must also receive its darkest nightmares. The Giver transmits the agonizing physical pain of a broken leg and the sheer terror of poaching an elephant, and ultimately the absolute horror of a bloody dying soldier on a chaotic battlefield. The extreme weight of this suffering deeply traumatizes Jonas, isolating him entirely from his friends and family who cannot comprehend his pain. If Lois Lowry's minimalist 1993 prose feels overwhelming, and you want to truly understand the terrifying psychological control of the text, you can get the full audiobook entirely for free by starting an Audible trial with my link in the description below. Listening to the original text is the absolute best way to grasp the complex philosophical value of this book. Now, let us examine the horrifying turning point and the desperate escape. Jonas begins to intensely resent the community's ignorance. He realizes that without memory, the citizens' lives are completely hollow and meaningless. He tries to transmit memories to his friend Asher and his father, but they are physically incapable of receiving them. The only person who responds is the infant Gabriel, who successfully receives peaceful memories from Jonas to help him sleep at night. The ultimate climax occurs when Jonas asks the giver what it actually means to be released. The giver pulls up a video recording of a release performed that exact morning by Jonas's own father. Jonas watches in absolute horror as his gentle father casually injects a lethal poison into the vein of a newborn twin simply because the baby weighed slightly less than its brother. His father then cheerfully disposes of the infant's dead body down a garbage chute. Jonas realizes that his father and the entire community are not evil, but they are fundamentally monstrous because they lack the basic human feelings necessary to understand the gravity of murder. Driven by pure desperation, Jonas and the giver formulate a radical plan. Jonas will escape the community and cross the boundary of memory. If he crosses the boundary, all the memories he holds will be violently released back into the minds of the citizens, forcing them to finally bear the burden of their own humanity. The giver will stay behind to help the people process the sudden, agonizing wave of emotion. However, the plan is completely upended when Jonas learns that the infant Gabriel is scheduled to be released the very next morning. Without hesitating, Jonas steals his father's bicycle, grabs Gabriel, and flees into the dark night. They endure a grueling and terrifying journey. Jonas must use memories of freezing cold to lower their body temperatures and evade the heat-seeking technology of the search planes flying overhead. As they travel further from the community, the landscape begins to dramatically change. Jonas sees real birds in changing weather, but they also begin to slowly starve to death. In the final ambiguous moments of the novel, a freezing and exhausted Jonas reaches the top of a snow-covered hill. He finds a waiting red sled, exactly like the one from his very first memory. He clutches Gabriel to his chest, and they speed down the hill toward a house filled with warm, glowing lights and the faint sound of musical instruments. The text leaves it entirely open to interpretation whether Jonas and Gabriel have safely reached another community or if they are simply experiencing a beautiful hallucination as they freeze to death in the snow. If you want to absolutely dominate your AP literature exam, you need to weave these specific foundational symbols into your final essays. First, we have the sled. The sled is the absolute first memory Jonas receives, and it represents the exhilarating freedom and momentum of discovering true human emotion. It is a vehicle for joy, but it also requires letting go of absolute control, which is the exact opposite of the community's rigid structure. Second, you must discuss the color red. Red is the color of the apple Jonas throws the hair of his friend Fiona and the sled itself. It strongly symbolizes passion and love and danger and spilled blood. By engineering red out of their vision, the society successfully eliminated both violent rage and deep romantic love, proving that you cannot have the positive extremes without risking the negative ones. Finally, the pale eyes. Jonas, the giver, and Gabriel all share unusual pale eyes in a community of dark-eyed citizens. These eyes symbolize their innate biological capacity for depth and perception, allowing them to see beyond the superficial facade of sameness and literally hold the weight of human history. If you have a paper or a test coming up, watching a summary gets you the plot, but reading Lois Lowry's actual prose is where you master the material, you can grab the physical copy on Amazon or get the audiobook completely for free with an Audible trial using the links in the description below. That is the long story short. Please like and subscribe for more literature breakdowns. See you in the next one.